Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake a lawyer? Why no water, death is sign of baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come. I used to think that people die because they wicked. Nowadays people wanna see you dead because you gifted. Been ready for my tomb since I came up out the womb. So no matter what, I'm coming back and paying you a visit. Saw it coming, I predicted, but y'all wouldn't listen. No, you can't protect your riches if you never burn bridges. Flip pages, went places, made changes, still dangerous. Now I'm back, altercation, hold still. I make it painless how it feel, baby. When you say you love me, is it real, baby? Full speed, both hands on the wheel, baby. Young Taz coming from the Mobile, baby. You know the drill, baby. Yeah. And when you hear the sound of the drum, we'll be saying, here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake a lawyer? Why no water, death is sign of baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come. I used to think that people die because they wicked. Nowadays people wanna see you dead because you gifted. Been ready for my tomb since I came up out the womb. So no matter what, I'm coming back and paying you a visit. Saw it coming, I predicted, but y'all wouldn't listen. No, you can't protect your riches if you never burn bridges. Flip pages, went places, made changes, still dangerous. Now I'm back, altercation, hold still. I make it painless how it feel, baby. When you say you love me, is it real, baby? Full speed, both hands on the wheel, baby. Young Taz coming from the Mobile, baby. You know the drill, baby. Yeah. And when you hear the sound of the drum, we'll be saying, here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake a lawyer? Why no water, death is sign of baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Here we come. I used to think that people die because they wicked. Nowadays people wanna see you dead because you gifted. Been ready for my tomb since I came up out the womb. So no matter what, I'm coming back and paying you a visit. Saw it coming, I predicted, but y'all wouldn't listen. No, you can't protect your riches if you never burn bridges. Flip pages, went places, made changes, still dangerous. Now I'm back, altercation, hold still. I make it painless how it feel, baby. When you say you love me, is it real, baby? Full speed, both hands on the wheel, baby. Young Taz coming from the Mobile, baby. You know the drill, baby. Yeah. And when you hear the sound of the drum, we'll be saying, here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come. Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come.
Mic check 212, bitch.
All right, what is up, guys? This is DDP back to talk a little bit of Cowboys football. I am joined here again by Big Game James. And James, we do not all is right in the Cowboys world tonight. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All things considered.
I got hella trolls. They've been blowing up my page, in my messenger, in my inbox, just on my Twitter. They're just relentless, but it comes with the territory. I do be yucking it up with my boys, and as soon as we lose, which it's gonna happen, and that's why I'm talking to them like, y'all ain't going undefeated. So yeah, I've been getting abused today, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No, it definitely comes with the territory. Anytime you cover the team and you go through the highs and lows of it with them, but you kind of become like an indirect face for the whole thing. So whenever people have something to say, suddenly you become a target in that case. So it happens. It comes with the territory, but it's just one game. We're still leading in the division. We're still 3-1 on the season. If it was an initial test for us in this regard, it would have been nice to have gotten the win in that case. But at the very least, the defense looks like it's woken up a little bit. I know that was Teddy Bridgewater out there and not Drew Brees. I'm fully aware of that. But you hold a team out of the end zone completely, and they barely even break double digits on you. That's saying something. That says that the defense might really be waking up.
Yeah, I mean, the defense could be waking up. Let me give a shout out to Mac Jones. Mac Jones? I just had to say that. I'm a Mac Jones guy. So, I mean, that could be the case, DDP, and I agree with you halfway with that. But, at the end of the day, we had a great defensive performance. But once again, Bridgewater came in the game averaging 4.74 passes up per attempt. That was the worst in the league by any starting quarterback. So we should already had assumed.
But he only had one game to go on, right? Like for this year.
True, but Teddy Bridgewater's never been, if you watched his career, even at Minnesota, he's never been a deep threat guy. He was never a guy that had a strong arm. He was never a guy that was always going deep. He was always going short to intermediate routes. That's always been his game, and that's been his forte. And they were playing to his strengths once again. So I wasn't surprised, but, I definitely like how we bottled up Kamara. We didn't let him, we were game tackling him. Michael Thomas, to me, didn't have a great game. He had an okay game, but he wasn't destroying us.
Yeah.
So for the most part, we held those guys in check. The thing that really killed us was time of possession. Me and you were talking about it off air.
Yep.
The thing that really killed us was time of possession. We played a great defensive game, but they had the ball too long. And when you have the ball too long, even if you are not scoring, if you're taking all that time off the clock and you have a lead, it's detrimental to your team.
Well, yeah, we saw that in the second half. It was a complete role reversal of last year, not just in the sense of score, 13-10 versus 12-10 this year, but the time of possession was almost like to the T, like to the second almost flipped from last year's game. And how do you take the gasoline out of the car from a high-powered offense? I guess I answered that backwards because I just pretty much put the lead out there right out of the gate. That's how you slow down an elite offense. And that's pretty much what you did. You keep the ball away, then you take that gas out of the car, And we saw that. I mean, what do we know about the Cowboys through what really you can say 4 weeks now? They make halftime adjustments, and the offense is lights out in the third quarter. They had the first week they had the 5 straight touchdown drives that carried into the second half. We saw, I think, 2 or 3, maybe even no, it was 2 more in the first game in the second half. In the second week, you saw 3 straight scoring drives in the third quarter, and then this week, you see it again. They get the ball. Dallas gets a 3-and-out early on. Gets the ball and marches right down the field and finally punches it into the end zone, only touchdown of the game. And you're like, okay, here we go. They move the ball, like that shot down the seam to Jarwin. I was like, okay, there you go. Now you're starting to open things up in the passing game a little bit down the field. This is good. This is going to help everybody. And the Saints, I think right after that, had like a 9.5 minute drive. I mean, they just completely took the piss out of the ball, and you can't do anything at that point. It doesn't matter. Like when they were able to sustain that drive, they went on something like a 15 play, 9 minute, 46-second drive that ended in a field goal. So first of all, while your defense couldn't get off the field, hey, kudos for holding them to a field goal. They did that all day. When it's the kicker is the only reason you lose a game, the other team's kicker, your defense isn't to blame. In that regard. And they got 5 sacks, so they doubled up their sack total from the year. But the Dallas offense couldn't get the ball back. And then it seemed like when it really mattered in the fourth quarter, 6 minutes, almost 7 minutes left, you're like, okay, here it is. This has got to be the moment. And, oh, no, drive self-destruct. I know we got another crack at it, but it just was like, man, with the way they're keeping the ball from us in the second half, I don't like that. It just completely killed the momentum.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely killed the momentum. But like I said before, we should have known that going into the game that this is what they were going to do. They weren't going to be explosive. They were going to be a ball control offense. They were going to change up their game to suit the needs of the quarterback that they had behind center, which was Teddy Bridgewater. Kudos for, like I said, the Cowboys stopping them on defense. But the biggest thing to me, and everybody saw it, was an offensive game plan. Number one, we got killed up front. That was the biggest problem. We got manhandled up front from the time that gun went off to start the game. Them Saints were aggressive. They were like a swarm of bees. You know what I'm saying? Like they were saying off rip, Ezekiel Elliott is not going to beat us. Yeah. That's what they said. Ezekiel Elliott is not going to beat us. And if you see the defense is not letting Ezekiel Elliott run that ball, then guess what? You have to adjust right there on the fly and say, you know what? Let's go shotgun, and we're going to get y'all out of this. We're going to give Zeke the ball later, but let's soften up this defense a little bit. Let's attack this defense in the passing game, do all kind of sorts of things to get you discombobulated. Then come back with some Ezekiel Elliott when y'all all run down and tired because we done fast break you to death. Yeah, that was the problem to me because that's what we've been talking about with Kellen Moore, how he's been doing great on the fly with adjustments and things of that nature. And you wonder if Jason Garrett kind of maybe put his hand in there a little bit. I don't know. But it just seems like, just like you said, we get the ball, we go no huddle, we go fast break, we score a touchdown. Yep. We get the ball again, then we go back to slow foot offense. That didn't make any sense to me when you have these guys on their heels because obviously you can see our receivers weren't really winning the game offensively off the line of scrimmage. We definitely missed Michael Gallup, as we can see. We weren't winning those plays. And then the Saints were saying, number one, Ezekiel Elliott's not going to beat us. And number two, y'all ain't throwing deep. So you can definitely look at the coverage when they say, well, why we weren't throwing deep? Well, I believe the Saints were playing the defense. We're not going to let us throw deep. They're going to keep everything in front of them and everything short. And it worked to their advantage. Yeah. Our problem was that we still didn't continue to attack. And that's what we're going to have to learn going forward, that conservative never wins.
For sure. And I think the Saints are actually one of those rare kind of defenses that can actually not only bait you into running the ball. I think we saw that at times where because they were going too safety high, it kind of makes Dallas want to run the ball. It's almost like a primal thing, like, oh, okay, this is what we do. We do this well. This is our main identity that we've had over these years. So they wanted to go with that, but the Saints, they were able to block things up. Like it didn't matter in a lot of those cases. And we saw the Cowboys on first down. I think it was like in the first half, it was like 70% of the first downs felt like they were running plays. And it was
right up the gut.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that drove me crazy too.
That's what pissed me off.
They were
right
killing us in the middle of that line. Like
and
Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Connor Williams. They were not great last night. I thought Lael had a great game. Tyron, we'll talk about him later, but he was strong as well. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, the edges
I don't know. Davenport was working him.
He whooped him a couple times, but we gave up 0 sacks on the game, though. There were a couple shots he got.
But see, here's the thing, though, DDP.
They got one.
I understand with the no sacks with Tyron Smith, and he gets away with that. And I'm not saying anything wrong against Tyron Smith. But what I am saying is, just because you don't get the sack pressures, and you know this, DDP, pressures almost as good as sacks sometimes. And Marcus Davenport was putting pressure in that backfield, especially on passing downs. I mean, Dak took some good shots.
Oh, yeah. He took a couple
night.
That would have killed Romo.
And also, what was another big key that I mentioned last week was the Saints getting Sheldon Rankins. He came off injured reserve. He hadn't played all year.
Yep.
He came out of Louisville, and he was a big body, and that was huge for them. And they needed a run stuffer in the middle, and he happened to be active that game. And when I saw he was active, I said, "Uh-oh,
yeah,
that's going to be a run stuffer in the middle because they know what we're going to try to do." You don't think he became active this game for a reason?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He could have sat out another game, but he was definitely there saying, "Hey, we need you in this middle because we need to stop this run game," and that's what they did. And another big problem was Tony Pollard. We just seen you last week get 100 yards rushing on 13, 14 carries.
Yeah.
You didn't get one carry in this game. Played 2 offensive plays. You got a weapon like that, and we were all anxious to see that.
Right.
But you don't even play him in this game. 2 offensive snaps. He got the pass interference on 1. And as I said before, I don't disrespect Zeke. But in the passing game, you're not the threat that Tony Pollard is. Not
Agreed.
at all.
Agreed.
And I don't understand why when we were going on passing downs, we were spreading Ezekiel Elliott out wide.
Right.
Why? He was number 1. He was our leading rusher at 18 carries, and he was our leading pass catcher at 6.
Yep.
That's not good because Ezekiel Elliott is not killing you in the passing game at all.
Right. No, I agree 100% on that. And, I mean, it's... I kind of actually had a sinking feeling that Pollard wasn't going to get a lot of snaps. Now, I would not have predicted 2. I would have predicted like 6. But, I mean, it's one of those things where we came out in what felt like a 2017, 2018 mindset where it's like, okay, we're gonna take this vast play sheet, we're going to tear it in half and go with our most basic stuff. And, I mean, you can call that like the play calling and all that. You can say, hey, the Saints had the right kind of personnel to really make us work. I mean, Lattimore had a great game against Cooper. He got away with some stuff too, for sure. But he also had a really good game against Cooper. And once, without Gallup, and then you take Cooper out of the mix a little bit, then it just kind of boiled down to, okay, now our offensive line's getting beat in the middle, yet we keep trying to run Zeke up the gut. He's got like 18 carries for 35 yards. I think production-wise, in terms of yards per carry, it was the 3rd worst game of his career. And usually you only get those in like the first 2 weeks of the year. But it was a nightmare for the Dallas offense. And I felt like they handcuffed Dak Prescott in this game.
They definitely did. But let me ask you something, though, DDP.
Yeah.
This is his 3rd worst game. I remember when we played Washington, he had like 20 carries last year, and he only got like 50-something yards.
Yeah.
And then I've seen games where he's had 20 carries. And what was the biggest thing with those games? He had one of his worst games. Denver Broncos was another game. We had one of his worst games. What did we do? We kept forcing it to him.
Yes.
We kept force feeding him. And I was watching Adam Thielen yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen that interview with him. And he came out and said, hey, you can have the best running back in the league. But if you cannot throw this daggone ball in this NFL, especially some deep passes, you're not going to win. It doesn't matter how good of a running back you have back there. If you can't pass to soften up this D, you become one-dimensional, and the front line is going to tee off on your quarterback every single play. Yep. And that's what's happening here. Because if you looked at the game, we kept forcing it to Zeke. It's like they know already. Yeah. They know already. So we're not going to win that game. So that's the frustrating part to me, is because you see he's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's Ezekiel Elliott and he signed his big contract. Move away from it. We need to win the game, not appease a player for carries.
Agreed. And what did we do in the first 3 weeks that we didn't do in this game? We built around the passing game, and then Zeke was the accenting feature to the offense. And in this, the whole game plan was just Zeke.
Yeah.
And it was so predictable, again, when they were going to run it, when they were going to do all that. And yeah, the Saints teed off on it. And, you know, even in that final drive, you know, you start off, maybe it was the drive before.
Flats out to freaking Zeke Elliott. Why are you throwing a flat out? And you feel me, DDP?
Yeah.
Like, we're on the 10-yard line, and you're throwing a flat out to Zeke.
Yep.
Where is that going, dog?
So on the 11 runs Dallas had on first down in the first half, or not first half, excuse me. This was like midway through the third quarter. They had 1.9 yards per carry. On the 8 passes, 7.3 yards. First half only was 7 runs with a 2.1 yards per carry average. And then in the passing, it was 3 for 6.7. So it's a weird thing where it's like, okay, so at no point were you ever really establishing your will. If we thought that we were going in there and it was like, hey, man, we're going into a hostile environment and we're going to punch their team in the mouth and it's going to quiet the fans down. It never did, because Zeke's biggest run of the day came on his 3rd carry for 6 yards. Less than 2 yards a carry. Yeah, he got a touchdown, and he had a controversial fumble, which I don't think was really a fumble, but that swung the game. I mean, they got 3 free points at the end, and, you know, we can also talk about the 2-second pass attempt down at the goal line, but all the same, I mean, this game was right there, and it was that close, but it seemed like we stayed in our own way. You know, not just the Witten fumble, not just the Zeke fumble, not just Dak missing Randall Cobb. Dak, first of all, the people trying to kill Dak for this, miss me with that. That is the most ridiculous take anyone can have on this. Could Dak have made a couple better plays? Sure. He missed Cobb in the end zone. Would have been a touchdown. We settled for a field goal in that situation after the Chidobe Awuzie interception, which was our first of the year. Yeah, he could have hit that, but he had Cobb dropping passes. I think Cobb had 2 or 3 drops on the day. You had fumbles from 2 of your key guys. Like, it was not Dak. He threw 1 pick on a Hail Mary at the end. Yeah, in terms of like the yearly stat sheet, that goes down as a pick, but it's not really a pick. I mean, that's just to chuck it and like whatever. It's like a 90% chance this gets picked or batted down. So it's ridiculous to try and lay this at his feet. He went 22 of 33 for 223 yards. Considering the fact that everything was broken for this offense and we managed 10 damn points, Dak Prescott was not the problem. The problem was our play calling. The problem was our really, really vanilla offense, our scheme, our game plan, everything. Dak had 1 run for 7 yards. They were playing man a lot of that game, and Dak had 1 rush attempt. And, call a quarterback run. You know what I mean? Do an RPO where he can at least make a read and debate the play. We didn't have 3rd and long all game. We had a lot of third and medium,
a lot of
third and
good manageable 3rd and downs. And just like you said, we were not sitting there and down in distance. We weren't coming up with 3rd and 12s, 3rd and 15s. We were having 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6 manageable plays. Yet we were still playing this conservative type role. Like I said, conservative never wins, no matter what you call it. You're supposed to play the Saints. They're on 1,000 when you're coming into their dome. So what you need to do is go after them. And you're smart enough to make those adjustments. When you see Ezekiel Elliott is not having any running room, you have to make that adjustment. Say, okay, this ain't working. Let's do some other things to come back to this later. You get what I'm saying? You don't have to do it now. You can come back to it later. And just like you said, DDP, when you watch those other games, it's not like Zeke was not the focal point. But when you make it to where you're not force feeding him and you're spreading the ball around, now when you're giving the ball to Ezekiel Elliott, he's gashing you. And that's what he's been doing to these other teams. He's been gashing them up the middle because now we're just spreading, we're just chucking it everywhere.
Right.
And yes, we did miss Michael Gallup. Yes, we did. But you seen that pass he threw to Blake Jarwin over the middle?
Yeah.
Why didn't we exploit that? That was open a lot of the game.
Yep.
We didn't even try to attack that. It's like we saw the weaknesses, but we didn't attack the weaknesses because we wanted to be bullheaded and get Ezekiel Elliott the ball.
Right.
That's where I wish I was a fly on the wall and wish I knew what was happening in that locker room to make y'all go that route, because y'all even seen it. Y'all came out from halftime and y'all came attacking.
Yep.
And then when we attacked and scored, it's like, oh yeah, there we go. That's what we talking about. Now we're about to get at you. Then we get the ball again and we go back to slow foot. That just made no damn sense to me.
I think Garrett tightens up when the game shrinks down like that. He tightens up. We had one drive in the third quarter for that touchdown drive that you just talked about, and then the Saints had it, and they go on that long drive, 9+ minute drive, 15 plays, only go 67 yards and end up in a field goal, but they bled the clock. And I think once Garrett saw that, he was like, oh man, we might only see the ball like twice more in this half.
Right, exactly. We barely had the ball in the second half.
Yeah, and then he went like, okay, we can't risk a down the field shot. We need to be conservative. We need to play this smart. And so everything became conservative to an even worse degree than it was. And Dallas was 4 of 11 on third down. And by the way, they got 2 of those conversions on that final drive. So I kind of hesitate to even give them that. It was really more like a 2 of 9 day. But it's just not a good setup for the offense in that case. Their pass rate on first and second down was 50% in the game. You are 18 carries for 35 yards, and you went 50-50 on first and second down between pass and run. What are you doing? On that drive, after Dak takes that sack, you have an immediate 9-yard gain. Or no, it was the drive before that. It was the 6 minutes and change drive. You get the ball, immediate 9-yard strike to I think it might have been Cobb, and then you take a Zeke loss of 1 on a draw up the middle, goes nowhere, and then I think after that, the drive just stalls. But the idea is we were so bullheaded on what we wanted to do. Even in that case, 2nd and 1. All right, well, we better make sure we get this one. No, dude, throw
Stop being scary.
Push the ball.
Yeah, that's exactly what you were. I mean, that's exactly it. Just like you said on the 2nd and 1. Why are we? Oh, well, let's make sure we get this first down. No, let's attack y'all downfield because we got 2 downs. It's 1 yard. We have 2 downs. We can't get 1 yard and 2 downs. So let's attack you guys and let's see what's going on. And just like you said, if it wasn't there, run the ball, Dak.
Yeah.
I get frustrated sometimes with Dak when it's he's out in the open, and I understand you're still looking downfield to make a play.
Right.
But Dak going it, you had some space in a couple of times where you could have ran it on wide open the field. And he's still trying to throw the ball. Like I said, this whole game was just frustrating because, you never want to make an excuse. You never want to make an excuse for a team. But damn, this is a game where you really said, man, we beat ourselves. Now, up front, they beat us up front.
Yeah.
But even then, we still could have beat y'all.
Yep.
Y'all beat us up front. You stopped the run game, and we still should have beat you.
Yep.
That's why I know we're the better team.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying, DDP?
Yep.
That lets me know we're the better team because your offensive weapons don't pale in comparison to, in my heart, our offensive weapons. Because the only 2 players they got is Kamara and Thomas.
Yep.
That's just the truth. You saw where Bridgewater went. He ain't going nowhere else. He went to them 2 players all game just like he went last game.
Yep.
So it just didn't. It's just that's the frustrating part is you know who they have. You know what they were going to do. You knew they were going to come in basic. You knew they were going to try to stop Zeke. You know all these things that we know them as fans and media. So if we know it, how come y'all aren't doing it? And y'all see it and know it, but you ain't making the proper adjustment, and y'all right there. That's just a frustrating part with me because this is a game we shouldn't have lost.
Right.
For real.
No, I agree 100%. How concerned are you with this? This was something Marcus Mosier tweeted out earlier today. How concerned are you with the fact that against the 2 best teams in the NFC, dating back to last year, we've now had 2 matchups with the Saints and 1 with the Rams. Zeke in those 3 games has 61 carries for just 157 yards or 2.57 an average. What is your kind of reaction to that? Does that not say what we've been saying about how, you can have an offense that's built around a lot of the things Zeke can do, but it can't be Zeke first?
That's why, that's when I sit there and say, Jason Garrett, I've been ripping you, Jason Garrett, for I don't know how many years, and I came in here with positive thinking, positive thoughts, Jason Garrett. Now, Jason Garrett didn't fumble the ball like Jason Witten. Jason Garrett didn't have to fumble with Ezekiel Elliott. Jason Garrett didn't do those things, so I totally understand it. But, come on, dog. Not every time, it's like, this is my problem. Every time DDP, it's our time to take a hold of the mantle. Yep. We always drop the ball. Have you noticed that every time it's like the Cowboys can be first place, total first place, or Dallas can take control of the division right here?
Right.
It's like we always lose the game, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, we're fighting to figure it out 2 or 3 weeks later. That's the problem I have. The Rams lost. The Packers lost. This is our time to come in here and let everybody know we are the best team in the NFC. And what the hell do we do once again? That's the part I get frustrated on, because time and time again, when it's time to take our threshold and our stranglehold and let people know who we are, we never take that step. And that's why I be doubting Garrett. Yeah, no,
for sure. It is something where it's early in the year. This is their first real test we've seen. I'm not gonna linger on this point too long, but we have been kind of cautioning a little bit, or at least I have. The caliber of opponent we've been going against is not like what we just faced. This was our first real test. I'm not broken up that we lost because we played well. If we'd gotten blown out, then I would be maybe looking here like, ooh, what's wrong with this?
Like 55 points on us.
Yeah, like the Rams, yeah, for sure. If something like that happened, then yeah, I'd be feeling differently. But I did have a little bit of a pinch of salt I took the reformed offense with. I was like, I don't know if we're that dominant. I think we're certainly better than obviously we showed in this game. Even against a good team, we should put up at least 24.
We should have at least 20 points in this game.
At least 20, if not 24 or whatever. But it's still one of those things too where it's like, all right, well, now you've had a test against a good team. You got humbled a little bit, so hopefully that helps you kind of come around a little bit. So at the start of the year, the things I was most concerned about with our defense after week 1, the running defense. Our running defense has been stellar since then. Now, I know the Skins and Dolphins aren't really run-heavy teams, but Kamara, you held him in check. I know he's dual threat too, but even in total yards, you held him under 100. He was at, I think, 90 for the game. That was one of the keys I had for the game. I thought if you held him under 100, you had this win just like last year, but it ended up not being the case. Regardless, the run defense is much better. Not a single damn explosive play for them in the game, and we have way cut back on those since week 1. I think we've given up maybe 3 in total since week 1. I mean, way tightened things down there. You finally saw some real pressure. 5 sacks in the game on Bridgewater. I don't know how he allowed himself to take that one from Jalen at the end that gave us a last gasp of breath. But even still, Jalen came through for you. Robert Quinn, dude. It's only 2 games in for him. I am 100% sold on it. If this man is healthy, this man is a wrecking machine and easily worth the 6th round pick we paid for him.
Oh, hell yeah, dog. Hey, I'm sorry, but I'm going to take credit for this. I prayed the mighty Quinn into existence. I tell y'all, when nobody talking about the mighty Quinn over here in the Cowboy land, but as soon as I heard the Dolphins, I was watching him the whole time because I knew he signed a 1-year deal, and I had been wanting him since North Carolina days. Yeah. So as soon as they had an inkling of saying, you know what, we're going to get rid of him, I was like, please, Cowboys, please, Cowboys, please, Cowboys, get him. And you see why. He is like that Randy Gregory that we wanted. Yeah. And, because Randy Gregory is a beast, but he can't stay on the field. He's not reliable.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who has that bend.
Dude.
You see him do the little snake dance.
He was horizontal on one play and still got to Bridgewater. And all I heard was your voice screaming, that damn bend.
That damn bend, dog. And then he had really 3 sacks. He got the one taken away from the penalty.
From a penalty.
But he had 3 sacks. But that fire off the line is ridiculous, man. He looks like a man possessed. And he looks like he loves playing with the Cowboys. I mean, the dude, picture day, he's all excited, being like a class clown. Yeah. He's been a breath of fresh air. Joe Thomas has been nasty too. Hey, I've been dogging Sean Lee. Sean Lee had a pretty decent game. Our linebacker core had a pretty decent game. Christian Covington, all those guys kind of stepped up. Cheeto, I'm gonna leave you alone.
Our
'cause
first and only pick thus far on the year.
Cheeto had a pick, but you still was going after you, dog. You need to
Yeah.
get that together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you look at our defense as a whole, played a very good, solid game.
Yep.
And that makes you feel good because guess what? We got Air Rod in them Packers Sunday. So
Yep.
they're definitely going to have even a better defensive performance because Teddy Bridgewater ain't no A-Rod. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's going to be a big stress. But the fact of the matter is it all comes down to this, DDP. And that's the only word. The word of the day to me is conservative.
Yeah.
If you are conservative, you won't win. And
Right.
that's why we lost the game. To me, more than anything else, we lost the game because we were conservative. They said, let's go with what we think is going to guarantee us to possibly get a victory instead of saying, hey, you know what? We airing it out. We don't care about your team. We don't care about your dome. We don't care about your stadium. We're coming here to whoop your ass. And I don't think that's the mentality they came in. I think they came in the mentality, let's just get a win. And that ain't good enough.
No, agreed 100%. It was almost like they looked at the defense's performance last year and then how they played them again this year. And it was almost like they're like, oh, well, let's not risk anything. The defense will give us the opportunities to, keep the game close here, keep the Saints in check for the most part. Let's just try and do just enough. Let's just try and worry about one, maybe two drives. And instead of the killer instinct we saw in the first 3 weeks, that's what's maddening to me. I understand game plans change. I understand that you're not going to attack the Saints the same way you attacked the Redskins or the Giants or the Dolphins, obviously. But the fact that we saw the offense was unrecognizable other than going back in time to a Scott Linehan thing. Like, you didn't have the pre-snap motion. You didn't have a more aggressive
What was the play
approach
action?
play action in general. Like, that is Dak's bread and butter. Dak is like 2 incompletions on the year in play action, and
He
we
was
ran
5 for
it less
6
than
last night in that game.
like 20%. I think I saw his passing plays, only 20% were on play action last night. The hell, you ran the ball 15 times. I know it wasn't effective, but at the very least they were buying that you were trying to run it by your own stubbornness. So might as well cash in on 1 or 2 of these. Like, it was mind-boggling watching the approach because it's just like smashing your head against a brick wall hoping the wall's going to crack first. And it's like, dude, how about you save yourself some brain cells and actually attack them in a different way? Change up your strategy. It's like they forgot about that. They forgot about halftime adjustments, and they just went right back to what they were doing in the first half that wasn't freaking working in the first place.
Yeah, totally agreed. Like I said, they weren't. I don't know what else to say but conservative, dog. Like, it's just a frustrating thing that you go against the Giants, you go against the Redskins, you go against the Dolphins. It's almost like you knew you were going to beat them. It's kind of like this, DDP. I'm going to go back to playing Madden because it's just the truth. Just like, when you're playing Madden and you play somebody and they're running the same plays all the time, you're going to eventually know what they're going to do, and you're going to shut them down, and you're going to beat them, and you're going to beat them bad because they're not doing the other plays. It's almost like when you're playing Madden and you're going to beat your opponent. I can beat you. So guess what? I'm going to try all kinds of different plays. I'm going to try bombs. I'm going to try reverses because I know I can beat you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try a whole bunch of little things. But now I go against a team where I don't know if I can just beat you like that. So I'm going to go with plays that I know and I feel like going to work in my heart because I need to win this game. So instead of me going for a bomb on 3rd and 3 when I'm playing Madden, I might do a dump off because that's the more safer plan. I need to get a first down. The same way you play in Madden, it's the truth. I'm not trying to correlate all, but it's the truth. It's the same way. You play a really good opponent in Madden, I bet you don't be, I'm going to sit there. Unless you have those guts, you're going to sit there and change your game plan, scale back the playbook, and make sure we just come out of here with a win. And that's what the Cowboys did. They scaled back their playbook. They said, look, we just need to come out of here with a win because this opponent is tough. We're in the house. We just need to win. And I feel like that's the mentality they came in with, and that's why we lost. Now, if you're playing Madden and you're saying, man, I don't give a hell who you are, guess what? More times than not, you do beat that opponent. It's just the truth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, that was the Cowboys' undoing in this game. I don't know how much of it was Kellen Moore, just his first big moment, kind of being shell-shocked a little bit. I mean, he is 30 years old. He's not even a year older than me. But it is one of those things. I don't know how much of that was an impact. I don't know how much of it was just a bad game plan or the environment, whatever. Maybe there are mistakes they made in the first half with the 2 crucial turnovers in a row, the Witten and the Zeke, made them shell-shocked. But regardless, it boils down to the same thing. This was a game we could have won. The defense gave you the kind of performance you needed. The defense, man, they came in giving up only 14.7 points a game, and they only gave up 12 in this damn game. Like, right. They are legitimately, if not for the fact that they still can't produce a lot of turnovers, I know they got the 1 in this game, but if not for that facet, which was what held them back last year, they are right at the cusp of that elite level, I think. I won't give them it until they can actually give you those turnovers, but when you came into this game a little bit hamstrung, right? It was still there to win. You didn't have Gallup. You were missing some other key players as well. You didn't have Crawford. You didn't have Anton Woods. You weren't at full strength, but
we calling Crawford. We really calling Crawford somebody we need.
I'm just talking about bodies that we're missing.
Okay,
that's all
right. We need to let this Crawford thing go, man.
I'm not putting him on the same shelf as Gallup in terms of impact by any means. But
so let me ask you this: when Crawford comes back, where do you think he fits in the mold? Does he go to the D tackle position because he's damn near not starting on that right end?
Yeah, I think that's where I would probably move him at this point. That's still an area I think we could improve a little bit.
Yeah.
Hyder had a good game, though.
Hyder that's what I'm saying, dog. The only reason why you keeping Crawford now for a body. Let's keep it all the way real. Like, what is Crawford? People saying Crawford offers you this, offers you that.
It's his leadership at this point, pretty much.
Crawford has been out how many games, and we ain't been falling off because Crawford ain't there. And I told people that we ain't falling off because Tyrone Crawford ain't in the damn lineup.
Yeah. No, for sure. But it's not all gloom and doom. We know this team, it sucked to lose that game, especially because when you got that last opportunity, when Jalen got that 16-yard sack that pushed.
And that was Hyder helping that one too.
Oh, yeah, he's who flushed him out. And as soon as he turned, he got smashed, just walloped by Jalen. Teddy Bridgewater did not have much of a clear eye view after that. He was seeing a little bit of double. But
you know what killed us though, DDP? If we could have had that second, had one more timeout left.
Yeah, no, for sure. If we had taken the first
timeout when Cobb caught that pass, we could have called that timeout right there and figured a play out.
Yep. And that's a fair criticism too. Is Jason Garrett has had certainly a lot of moments throughout his coaching career with us that he has shown kind of questionable clock management skills. I think if you had taken the timeout ahead of the 2-minute warning, you would have given yourself an extra stoppage of time. And that would have been huge in that situation. Hey, let's talk about that play a little bit too, just at least touch on it. If he doesn't get caught by the ankles there, dude, that's 80 yards and he's gone.
That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown. That's a touchdown.
That is game over. And that's how damn close it was. And I mean, we're talking about a guy that
I was screaming.
Yeah. We're talking about, Dak missed him early in the end zone, but then he had a couple just ball-busting drops. To come back with that moment would have been huge, especially for a guy who, he's had a couple big plays called back by penalty this year.
Yes.
So that would have been like ultimate redemption there. And instead, it's a really nice gain. It gets us out of a bad situation, but because of the time left, we're pretty much screwed. I really liked what the Saints did at the very end there. I thought that was brilliant on the Hail Mary to send the blitz. Like, no, I'm not going to – you're at your own 48. I'm not going to give you 5 seconds for your receivers to get down there to try some kind of shenanigans or, hook and ladder shit. We're going to actually just throw a guy at your quarterback like a second and a half in, and he's going to get walloped. And as long as I don't hit him too late after he throws the ball – it's game over. And that's what we saw.
Right.
I mean, I love that. I mean, it's one of those things where let me ask you this. Would you have rather attempted the Maher kick there?
Yep.
That's what I was calling for. I know it would have been like 70 yards.
I mean, what let's be honest. Like Jason Garrett, no disrespect to you, dog, but it was a 68, 69-yard field goal, maybe a 70-yarder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what real chances do we have by throwing a freaking Hail Mary? You had just as good a chance as a Hail Mary as the field goal. So trot him out there because the game is over if he misses it. But you don't know.
Yeah.
He may kick it. I mean, we seen field goal kickers when they have that. They don't have, because here's the thing. When the pressure's on, you have to make this to win the game.
Yep.
But it's a 69, 70 yarder.
No one's expecting you to make it anyway.
Nobody's expecting you to make it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a free kick. So there's less pressure on you to make this kick because nobody thinks you're going to make this kick anyway. So go out there and try out and do it because you never know what could happen.
And he's made a 62-yarder in his career already. The NFL record, it's 64. I would have rather tried that because my thought when they lined up is I was like, oh, dude, I wonder if a little part of them remembers Kansas City in 2017 and that Tyreek Hill quick strike with all the blockers out front. I was like, I wonder if Kellen Moore's got like something in that up his sleeve. And then it was just like, nope, it's just a Hail Mary. Like, why didn't we trot him out there? Why didn't we at least? I would have rather lost the game that way.
I have more issues with them throwing that Hail Mary. I would have been so much cooler if we missed it on a field goal attempt because guess what? Like you said, I think this percentages are higher for you to try the field goal attempt than you trying a Hail Mary. They're all sitting back in the damn end zone waiting for the freaking pass. And you had like 2 receivers there. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, the Hail Mary pretty much was when we threw a jump ball to Amari Cooper and a pack of 4 guys, and he still nearly came down with it. That was your Hail Mary. Like, once you got to that point at the end of the game, it was just like, that's all you're going to try? Dude, that's like conceding right there.
I was sitting there thinking, like, we're really going for the Hail Mary. Like, when he spiked the ball, I said, all right, bring Maher out. Let's just see what he can do.
Yep.
And they stayed in there, and I said, why is Dak Prescott still in the game?
Right.
Get him out of there. Try this field goal attempt, and if we lose on that, it is what it is. But if we're losing on a Hail Mary, that just pissed me off. Like, that really, really made me mad because, like I said, Maher is terrible up close, but he has the big leg. And you don't know that surge of energy or rush could have made him push it farther than we've seen field goals when guys have made 63 yarders, but they're like, that easily could have been 70 yards.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw how things just kind of didn't work out well. Like on that first play of that final drive, Dak takes a sack that he couldn't afford to take. And worse, he falls into Tyron. Now Tyron's got a high ankle sprain. He's for sure out this week against Green Bay. But we are hearing optimism that it's not going to be a long-term injury. That's good because he might have struggled a little bit in the game. But it's still, I don't feel great with Cam Fleming in there as a replacement.
No.
And I don't know how much that they're talking about. Garrett seemed to allude today at the possibility of moving a guard out there. I don't know exactly what his plan was, but he kind of suggested that it was coded, right? It wasn't like a coming out and saying something thing. But he basically said that, like, the benefit of our line is that we have guards who are good enough that they could play in a pinch, could play tackle. And I'm thinking, like, okay, who's he talking about specifically in this case? Because I don't know. I mean, if not...
Unless you put Connor out there, but he played left tackle. He's played left tackle
in college.
He played left tackle in college, and you can put Joe Looney in there at guard and switch him out at tackle. Maybe if you wanted to do that.
Maybe.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it happens because that's hard. But all I'm saying is when Cam Fleming got in the game, Dak was running for his life.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the key of that play as well, hitting Tyron like that, we didn't have any timeouts, to your point, so it was a 10-second runoff. We lost 10 extra seconds on the first play and lost our left tackle. I mean, it was just the ultimate kick in the nads there for the team. And, I mean, that pretty much took, like, the Jalen Smith play, when that happened, the sack, I was like, oh, dude, you knocked him out of field goal range. We're going to go win this.
I'm like, we're going to win this. Yeah. That was my very first thought, DDP. As soon as we had the sack, like, we're going to beat y'all.
Yep.
We're going to beat y'all now.
Yep, exactly what I thought.
And then I seen the sack, and then I seen the little flare out, and I said, "Yeah, we ain't winning."
Yeah, as soon as Dak went down, I was like, "Oh boy,
it's over." Yeah,
their first sack of the game would come in this situation, and yeah, because of our timeout situation, we were pretty much dead in the water. Still came damn close. Again, that Randall Cobb thing. I've seen that play a few more times today, and it hurts my soul a little bit every time because I'm just like, oh, it was so close.
And it was right. I mean, like people don't know how close it was. Like if he didn't put his arm out there, he had full speed. Like he hit him in stride.
And that's something that he brings that Beasley could never bring to us.
Oh yeah, and he's probably stiff arming that safety because that safety was running at an angle, so he didn't have a good beat on him. I could see Cobb stiffing him. We screaming in the air. Touchdown, game over. Shut the hell up, all you other people. But guess what we're dealing with today?
Yep.
Monday Mutiny, and we're listening to all these haters talk about how we're frauds and fraudulent. And that's just not the case.
No.
We're not a fraudulent team. We're a very good team, but we have to play to our abilities. If we're going to be a Super Bowl type team, if we're going to be a consistent playoff team and a Super Bowl threat, aggressive is the word. No matter if you're playing the Giants or if you're playing the Patriots, aggressive is the word. Don't start scaling back the playbook because you're like, oh, this is the Patriots we're playing. Oh, this is the Bears we're playing. So let's just make sure we get the win, because when you just come like that, I'm sorry, you always lose. When I've coached football and whenever we came into a game and I was not aggressive and I was worried about, oh, well, we can't make any turnovers, this and that, because this team is good. When you start worrying about that, turnovers happen. When you start saying, we can't make any turnovers, we're going to play as mistake-free because this is a good team, that's when all the chaos starts. When you go in there with that mentality, like, man, let's go out there and play our game and do what we do, and we don't care what they're going to do. When you play loose, it's just like with injuries. When you're worried about getting injured when you play, you get injured. When you play reckless and you don't worry about the injuries, 9 times out of 10, you don't get hurt. It's just the truth.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, it's one of those things. The good thing of it, and the optimistic way to view this, is human nature says you learn more from defeat than you do from victory. Even if that Cobb play does break, he breaks the tackle and he takes it to the end zone. Yeah, it's a huge moment and we're high-fiving and we're losing our minds. That's great, but you almost have to suffer a little bit to really learn something. That's just human nature. So hopefully from this, they can look at it, because if they got away with that, you know what I mean? Like if we got away with winning that game with that kind of conservative whack-ass play calling,
they might try to go back to it.
Exactly. Maybe not exclusively, but certainly against good teams.
But they would.
Yeah,
they would go against it
against
good teams, because they would sit there and say, I agree with you, DP, because they would sit there and say in their head, we beat New Orleans in New Orleans with this approach.
In New Orleans. So, we beat New Orleans in New Orleans.
In New Orleans with this approach, so we're going to do it again.
And they'd be like, it's different now because now we have a better receiving core. So it's different now. So now we can do that, because this is what worked in 2016 when we had better pieces than most everybody else. We were able to pretty much do what we wanted, and we were 13-3. So why is it so bad now? It doesn't work at this point. Like, you can't build an identity off of that. You have to adapt and grow. You can't be stubborn in that case. So, yeah, I think that it's better. I'm looking at the bright side here, the silver lining, to say, hey, we're going to have to learn a lot from this, and most all of it's going to be on the offensive end in terms of the play calling, the game plan, and all of that. And hopefully even the offensive line got humbled a little bit, because even though Dak took only one sack on the day, he was nearly getting killed. And credit to him for standing in the pocket and making some of those throws. Dude, I thought he got killed 3 times.
He was taking and he was taking some shots where his whole rib cage body was exposed. Dak is a warrior. People want to dog him, but that boy be taking some shots, and he gets right back up in the game, and you're like, dang, most quarterbacks that take some of them shots, they stay on the ground. They don't get up. But Dak always gets up, to his credit. And as you said before, you don't want to have a loss like this. You don't want to lose a game like this. But hopefully, because you saw how you called this game, hopefully you don't call that type of game against Green Bay. Because if we call that type of game against Green Bay, we're going to get our ass handed to us. Point blank serious.
Yeah. No, I agreed. And the good news as well with this upcoming matchup, for all of our stubbornness about ours and the Cowboys, stubbornness for wanting to establish the run and just be blockheads about that, Green Bay's got a bad run defense. Like, their defense is pretty good, but you can have them in terms of on the run game. You can get them. And so I have a feeling you might have a little bit easier time. You know, if you can really,
Green Bay gets up against us though, DDP.
Yes, you're right. If they get up against us, that's the problem. If it's 21-3 in 2016's playoff game, then yes, it's a disaster, and it doesn't matter if Zeke goes over 100. But if you can actually avoid that, if you can avoid falling behind big early in this game, then you should be able to establish the run more than enough to open things up. That's the problem, is when you're trying to establish the run and you can't, then nothing works. If you're trying to establish the pass but you're being super conservative, then it works a little bit but not as well as you need it to. I just think that this is an opportunity for them, even though it's a really tough matchup and we know what Aaron Rodgers can do. We've seen how good the Green Bay defense has been at times this year already. But looking at them just off their last game against Philadelphia, and I know we said this about the Saints in Seattle, like, oh, I'm not that scared of them. And then here we are today, like, all right, they outplayed us a little bit. They got. But
I still wasn't scared of them. I'm even now. I'm not impressed by no Saints. Even now, like.
It'd be an interesting playoff matchup if we got to that part. Point, and I am going to lament not having home field potentially in that case.
Man, I don't know. I'm sorry. Maybe the Saints. I'm sorry. I just don't think they got a great D. I just feel like we made them look like a great D. We made them look like a great D. Everybody else shredded them. Everybody else shredded them.
Yeah.
We made them look like a top D. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to give them props. Yes, they're a good team, but we're a better team. I don't care. We played a terrible game to me, and we still should have beat you. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not scared of the Saints. And even the Packers. They're talking about they got this ballyhoo defense. Now, we'll say this. They have a better pass rush. Yeah. They got some players, Zarius Smith, and I believe Preston Smith. Yep. Those guys are balling. Those guys are playing really good. And that's the only thing that I'll be a little bit concerned with is that pass rush. But other than that, the Packers don't scare me besides Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Aaron Rodgers is the guy that can destroy us. We've seen it. We've seen it firsthand. So we need to jump on them early. Get on them early. We need to attack them early. So my thing is, I hope the guys went back and saying, guess what? We tried this approach against the Saints. We saw it ain't going to win. Let's go back to being fast break, because when we play that fast break type offense, we are a tough team to defend. I feel like we can beat anybody in this league when we're fast breaking. But when we start getting in our shell and start, okay, let's give it to Zeke here. Let's give it to Zeke there. You don't win. Adam Thielen even said it, like I just said before. Adam Thielen even said it. You can have the best running back in the league running for 180 yards, but if you can't throw the ball, if you can't challenge this defense deep, you're not going to win games.
Yeah.
That's just a fact.
Yeah, for sure. So before we wrap up here, James, tell them where they can find all of your content and everything, subscribe to your page and all that.
Well, you can check out Silver and Blue Nation, Big Game James. We do our thing on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're going to start doing some more Instagram live videos. G hit me up, so we're going to start hitting that Instagram a little bit harder. Nice. So you can check us out on all those platforms. We do our watch parties every Sunday. We had a really good watch party this past Sunday. I mean, we had almost like 700 viewers at one time. Nice. So that was dope. Like, that was so awesome. So please jump in there for them watch parties. We have a good time. And hey, we really do announce the game. Like, Sports Fury, they're really good too. I watched them the other day. They're really good with announcing the game. Yep. We do the same type thing where we do the play-by-play and the commentary. So it's not like we're just saying mumbo jumbo. We're actually commentating the game. So hey, check us out if you want to have a good time. We love having people in there. We talk trash. We haven't be having all kind of haters. Trust me, all kind of Saints haters was in there, DDP, when we lost that game. I never seen so many Saints haters in one feed in my life, dog. They was in there. But, hey, like I said, check us out. You know how we do. And just keep, we're just talking good Cowboys football, and we just try to keep it as real as we can.
For sure. Well, thank you again for coming on. We do this every day after the Cowboys game. I don't know when our first Monday night game or Thursday night game is this year. It's not super soon, I don't think. Let me see here. Nope, don't have the schedule in front of me like I thought I did. But all the same, day after the Cowboys game, we like to run it back here and talk about the game, break it down. And then as well, I do Friday afternoons, I'll do a show with Law Nation as well to kind of preview the game. I know you got yours as well with Law as well on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah, that'll be popping tomorrow. So check it out, Cowboys Experience.
There you go. So lots more great stuff coming. Hang tight. We'll have more Cowboys content. Hey, today's Mavs Media Day, which means I'm about to have some stuff to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Slow period is over. At least for Mavs news.
That's crazy how NBA basketball comes back so quick.
Yep. Opening night's October 23rd. Already got all kinds of great stuff rolling. So that Mavs talk will be Wednesday night for those interested. So
yes, sir.
That's all our time for tonight's show, guys. Thank you for those who tuned in. Salute to Big Daddy Todd McGowan. Let's see here. Stevie Mac 23. Hit a couple more before I roll out of here. Of course, you got Annette. Post-grad update. Let's see here. Gleh in the house, as always. El Jefe. And who? Mac Jones.
Mac Jones.
Until next time, guys, I'm DDP for Big Game James. Remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.
Please.
Yeah. Siege. Riley. Taz. Yeah. Set me free and give me death, there ain't no other choices. When I lay down to go to sleep, I keep on hearing voices. Little whispers in my head, man, is you fake a lawyer? Why no water, that designer, baby, pick your poison. These little demons living underneath my bed, creeping. Know the real monster lives above them all, sleeping. That subtle breathing in your closet every single evening. Thought you never see me again, looks can be deceiving. When they hear the sound of the drum, they'll be saying, oh Lord, here they come. Yeah, here we come.